Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up, more of our tribute to Veterans Day. We are at the College of Innovation and Design, promoting our school, securing our future. And we're going to talk to some students here at Boise State. But Todd Christensen, any thoughts?
Well, just as a great opportunity to have students here from the College of Innovation and Design to really explain and share the uniqueness and the innovative approach that Boise State has taken to helping our youth as well as the traditional and non-traditional students pursue their education and be career ready.
Well, and to do so affordably thanks to the partnership with CapEd Credit Union.
Well, that's part of the thing that we've shared this morning, the Passport to Education for the listeners out there that who are just tuning in. If you're wanting more information about Passport to Education, visit caped.com. And then go into the search for Passport to Education, and shares how individuals have access and affordability to higher education.
Well, Todd, thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure, and I'm excited to hear from some of these great students here this morning.
All right, and before we get to the students here, I do want to remind everybody the Kevin Miller cash code word is LIGHT. LIGHT. Your chance to win up to $5,000. Go to KIDOTalkRadio.com and type in the word LIGHT. Remember, listen at 6 a.m., 8 a.m., and at 3 p.m. during Sean Hannity's show, and your chance to win up to $5,000. Sir, why don't you introduce yourself to the listening public? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Alex Richardson.
Okay, no, we'll just stay with you one at a time.
All right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Alex.
So I'm a non-traditional student over 24 who's kind of jumped around majors a few times and has managed to land in the GIM program. And it's one of the most interesting majors that I've actually taken through I think I've had 3 or 4 official majors. So
what were they?
I was a theater major, a mass communications major, and an engineering major, and also dabbled in business as well.
Boy, that's quite a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I, kind of a jack of all trades. I have about a semester or 2 of just about everything at this point.
I see. Well, that's great. Ma'am, what about you? Please introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, my name is Olivia Thomas. I'm currently a junior in the GIM program, also double majoring in CS. Kind of what brought me to GIM is when I was about 9 years old,
Now, you'll have to tell us again what GIM is.
Yes, so GIM is Games, Interactive Media, and Mobile Development. It's a pretty new major at Boise State. It's about 3 years old now, going into its 4th year. And it's a really cool program. It brings in kind of design, video game design, art, coding, and kind of brings these disciplines together into something that's really unique. And so, yeah, I've been loving it. I've been designing video games since I was 10 years old. And I was really lucky that this program kind of popped up in my backyard.
Sure.
And it was exactly what I was looking for.
Well, everybody loves the games. Yeah. A lot of future in games.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Yeah. Sir, what about you?
Yeah, my name's Tyler Chapman. I'm a senior here on campus, junior in the GIM program. I'm a double major with IT management as well. And so, again, junior in the GIM program, so I'm with Olivia and I think everybody else here where I'm in my 3rd year, going into some of that bigger project type stuff. So I, like Olivia said, she kind of explained the GIM program. I'm really in it a lot more. So video games are really awesome and I love them to death. But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the stuff that we do, we're implementing video games, can also be used in other disciplines. So for example, making simulations, like a lot of our students did when we went down to NASA and did some projects for them with augmented reality that aren't necessarily video games but can be used for a lot of other things.
Well, you've said a lot in such a short period of time. We'll get back to you in a minute. Sir, please introduce yourself to the listening public on KIDO Talk Radio.
I'm Ryan Wiskerson. I'm a junior also. What got me into the M program was I was doing an internship in Palo Alto in engineering, and being in that environment, I realized that this was kind of the future, the user interface, augmented reality, virtual reality, and it would apply to the engineering. So.
And that drew you from California to Idaho.
I actually lived in Idaho before. I was just doing my internship in Palo Alto.
Right. Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Make sure you're okay with the folks from California, so that's good to know. How big of an industry is this one that's developing? We'll start with you, sir.
Well, I don't know the numbers exactly, I'll admit, but there's a lot. As Tyler mentioned, there's a lot that you can do with GIM. It's not just the video game industry. I know that the video game industry is
now
booming.
again. I'm an old guy, so you're going to have to GIM People are tuning in all the time.
Sorry.
So.
Games, interactive media, and mobile.
All right. Games, interactive media, and mobile.
Yes.
That's a lot.
It is. It covers...
Everything that seems to be relevant these days.
It does. The way that the program is set up is around game design. That's kind of our big focus, but that kind of technology is being used on a lot of fronts. We're studying VR kind of stuff through
virtual reality.
Virtual reality.
Sure.
Sorry. You get so used to the technical terms.
I'm with you. With you.
But we study a lot of virtual reality stuff, which includes things like video games, but also the program is working on medical simulations that can help train medical students.
Sure.
And stuff like that. We're also working in AR, doing things like interactive museum exhibits that you can see through your phone.
AR?
Augmented reality.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. I'll try to be better, I promise.
No, I appreciate it. And again, this will guarantee a laugh from all four of you here on KIDO Talk Radio. So you study the video games. Is that how that works, ma'am?
Yeah, well, we study a lot of things. I was actually in one of my classes last year, one of my GIM classes, and I started keeping a list of all the different disciplines that we talked about because there were a lot, and there ended up being about 20, I want to say.
Right.
Yeah, so there's really a lot of stuff that goes into it.
You said disciplines. Does that mean video games or what?
Well, we talked about philosophy, we talked about history, we talked about literature.
History of video games? I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm trying to understand it. So.
Yeah, no, just regular history, because that really goes into designing an experience for people. There's so much to it. You have to think about, psychology. It's a form of art. You're telling a story. So there's a ton of things that go into it.
It's not like the old days when you could just blast something, huh?
No, at least we try not to just focus on that.
I'm going to ask you folks to stand by for a minute because I do want to come back to this, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Joining us now, Major Scott Hussing. Major Hussing, thank you for joining us once again.
Hey, always great to be on the show, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your service, number one. And, of course, you are the best-selling author of Echo in Ramadi, the first-hand story of U.S. Marines in Iraq's deadliest city. Veterans Day coming up, but are you surprised that we have to remind people that we still have troops in the region and in Afghanistan, considering how much we've lost and how much we continue to lose, sir?
I'm not surprised. It's something that we as a nation tend to insulate ourselves from when it comes to talking about the military or talking about war. And the fact we've got 30,000 troops in Afghanistan, another 10,000 still fighting a war that we've been fighting for 17 years now. And I think that escapes a lot of people. And it is easier for a lot of people to insulate themselves than kind of put that baggage on the veteran community, on our active duty service members, to really safeguard themselves, because it's easier for them to let the veterans carry that type of burden for them, I think, in a sense. So I'm not surprised by that.
Well, isn't it a challenge, though, because when you serve, it's about service, and you're not asking for anything. You're not marketing yourselves. It's contrary to the mission, it seems.
It is, but, this Veterans Day is a day to absolutely celebrate what our nation's heroes do, what our active duty does, what our veterans have done since the founding of this country for over 240 years. But our culture rarely wants to talk about some of the worst aspects that are tied to the military, death and killing, unless it's bolstered by some flowery parade or people waving flags and there's hot dogs and burgers being cooked. And I always challenge people, it's more than just having a barbecue. And this isn't some form of guilt patriotism, Kevin. This is our reality. This is the reality, and this separation that our nation has between those who've served and those who think they're really supporting the troops. But it's not just a bumper sticker on your car. You have to do more. You have to put some skin in the game to really make a difference and listen to veterans.
We go back to the subject of your book. I can recall hearing so much about Ramadi and taking that city and door to door and such. How has that impacted your life and the lives of those Marines?
When I first wrote the book, and when we launched just 6-7 months ago, I used to say that the story was about the fighting and the friction and the people, but it really has transformed my message and the core message of the book to one of what I call the power of human connection, because it has reached not just military and veteran communities, but civilians that have sent me countless, hundreds and hundreds of emails and instant messages on social media saying how this is a great example. Is one started, I've been anti-military my whole life, and I was like, great, this is really going to be a great read. And I scroll down, and it says, until I read your book, and I really understood the true meanings of the words service and sacrifice. I want to thank you for what you and your fellow Marines have done to give us our freedom in this country. I was like, wow, we just bridged the gap, and that was powerful.
What would be the proper way to celebrate Veterans Day, in your opinion?
No veterans themselves, I think, sit around and look at the day on the calendar and think that this is a special day for them, because for those who have served, and especially those who have served in combat, every day is Veterans Day. We always recognize those we serve with. Every day is Memorial Day to honor the fallen soldiers and Marines that we've lost and fought alongside. But I think for us in our community, we want to really, again, bridge that gap and create a better understanding and a better narrative about what our veterans are and what they're not. We're not victims. We're not, we are servant leaders at every level, from our young 18, 19-year-old warriors that do our nation's bidding to our senior officers that dedicate 20, 30 years in some cases. And they're not just doing it themselves. This Veterans Day, I want veterans and civilians and everyone to understand that there's families left behind, Kevin. For every one soldier or Marine that goes and fights or is deployed, they leave an entire family behind. So this Veterans Day, when you see the son or daughter or husband or wife of a veteran, thank them too, because they're sacrificing. They're giving of their time. They're really loaning their husband or their dad to the country, to this nation, for sometimes months and years on end, so they can protect the freedoms that we enjoy here in America, and that's an important message.
Scott, a final couple questions here on KIDO Talk Radio. How do those families, how do they get through those deployments?
Some are very lucky that live around military installations, and we have great support groups. The Marine Corps in and of itself, and obviously, I'm biased because I was a Marine for 24 years, but we take care of our own. Most communities do, but they're lucky to have these great networks, and we really are a family that take care of each other. And the neighbors that live, on either side of the homes, they always understand this better than most. But we also have families that live in more remote areas in the Midwest that aren't surrounded by the major military installations, and they have some challenges. So again, to all the listeners, I say, hey, thank you for capturing this message. And if you run into those veterans and the veteran families, ask them what they need. And a lot of times they won't say they need anything, but give them an option, give them something, and reach out to them. And it's a wonderful feeling when you make that connection with those who defend and support our country and the families that make it possible for us.
Well, Scott, thank you. If people want more information on you, your publication, what can they do?
Echo and Ramadi is available on Amazon, and a portion of the proceeds go to help veterans with post-traumatic stress at SaveTheBrave.org, or they can visit my website at echoandramadi.com. And you can find me on social media at Echo and Ramadi on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm all over the place at Echo and Ramadi.
Well, thank you, Scott, and thank you for your service.
Always a pleasure. Thanks to you. Thanks to everyone up there in Boise. It's great to be on the show. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans, and welcome home to all my Vietnam vets. And Semper Fi.
Thank you, Scott. God bless.
Same to you, brother.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller with you. Back to talking about the students here that are studying and working on creating video games. Now we'll go to this young man. Your name again, sir?
Tyler Chapman.
All right, Tyler. The GIM, what's the GIM?
Yeah, Games, Interactive Media, and Mobile Development.
All right, you say that very fast. So let's have a little fun. The greatest video game of all time.
Oh, man.
You've studied the history and everything else.
Man, I'm probably not. Ryan's probably the guy to ask this to. He's a big history buff.
The big video games is a history buff. Okay, sure.
This, if you believe hard enough. No, it's for me personally. I'd probably go with probably nobody listening knows what it is, but the Stanley Parable. It's this walkthrough game with lots of different endings based on what you do in the game.
All right. How about you, sir?
My favorite game?
Yeah. Well, no. In your opinion, the greatest of all time.
I'm probably a lot like Tyler. I'm probably the wrong person to ask that. I'm more in this program for the user interface, that type of stuff. But,
oh my goodness! How about this? I'll answer the question: Space Invaders, Asteroids, and Tecmo Bowl.
I'm probably one of the only people in this group that
They
actually
studied it,
knows.
right? Isn't that part of their historical journey? Tecmo Bowl.
Some people,
Activision?
yeah.
Activision?
I know all about Activision.
Pitfall?
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you that those are a lot of the great games that I know about, but again, I'm also the oldest guy here, so.
Well, I think I got you on that one. So, what about you, sir?
I do think you're leaving Galaga off that list.
Galaga, yeah.
Okay.
Galaga, yeah. Yeah, I know, but let's just be, if you didn't have Space Invaders, there'd be no Galaga.
That is true.
And then you just have that disturbing thing where they're going, you've never lived, young people, until you put that quarter in and, all of a sudden you're just having that emotional response. Now, I'm sharing with you what a user goes through. Is that part of what you all study here?
Yeah, that's a huge part of what we study, actually. Almost our entire major is based around the idea of creating things that people want to experience. Like, that's the big part about the interactive media part, is whatever we're making, be it games or just, like, even we make some small animation things so that we can practice visual design stuff. But whatever we make, there's this huge emphasis on making sure that it is something that we're not just doing as a project, but something that people would want to experience, be it watching an animation or playing the game.
Right.
So there is that huge emphasis on that. And we do, we actually have had some games that we've been assigned to play in the class.
Oh, that's a tough one.
To kind of.
Like what?
So the one that sticks out is our first year we were to play this indie game called Braid, which is designed. It's a platformer, kind of in a Mario-esque style.
Sure.
That deals with some philosophy issues throughout the course of the game. So we study it because it was something that was very interesting to people when it came out, because it was very good gameplay.
Sure.
And had a very interesting story to it.
Right, but let's get back to this. Donkey Kong.
Yes.
Mario Brothers.
Well, even Pong.
Yes.
Pong was one of the first
I
big
played
games.
Pong at a pizza shop in Aurora, Colorado, where you go, oh my gosh, this is the best ever.
Well, and I've played Pong here in town. It's still around.
Right.
You could go down to the Space Bar here in Boise, and they have a Pong machine there.
Right. Well, but back to, ma'am, let's let you jump in here. Have you heard of these games we were talking about? Tecmo Bowl?
Never heard of that one.
No?
I have Pitfall. I've heard of Pitfall. I
Okay.
played a simulation of that online.
Pitfall Harry, really? Wow, my goodness gracious. Does the graphics or lack thereof shock you?
A little bit, but I kind of like the minimalistic feel. It gives
The
you more of
minimalistic feel. Really. In our, the video games lost me when we got rid of the joystick. Think about that. Now it's, you got to have all these hand-eye coordinations. But this is really a field that is booming. And I'm not trivializing it all. This is, and we haven't even touched on esports, where you have people signing multi-million-dollar contracts and such. Oh, you're pointing at people. What does that mean? Well, back to you?
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to throw in real quick that...
Oh, you were. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah. That video games is actually, as far as the entertainment industry, a bigger industry than even the movie industry at this point.
You're right, sir. Okay, I've gone on wax nostalgically. Quickly, does anybody have any thoughts on the future of video games and mobile and digital and all that? Is it just going to be, we're not even going to have goggles one day, it'll just be a chip in our brain? Anybody want to tackle that one?
Who knows? I'll go for it. I think there's a lot of emerging technologies right now that are kind of stepping stones to what we might eventually get to. So we've been talking about virtual reality and augmented reality, and really, I think our biggest job as developers, not really having a closed mind on what could happen, but really adapting to what the hardware developers and everybody else as a whole really comes together and develops, and being able to adapt to that.
Sure. Well, thank you all. You've been great sports.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Traffic and weather together.
Devin's Eric Everett.
And you're listening to KI Talk Radio. Let's find out what's happening in your world. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Before we get to your phone calls and many more people here at Boise State University, we give our friends that have moved here from California a hard time, but we really need to pray for all of those people right now around the city of Malibu and everywhere else. Ventura County, you've got a huge fire going on, and they've evacuated the city of Malibu. They're doing that right now. 75,000 homes in L.A. and Ventura counties. It's one of the 2 wildfires burning in that region. We're just going to go to Channel 2 in Los Angeles to get a little coverage of this.
Just in the time that
one of the reasons why we are having some issues with the cell signal, we should mention, is because cell phone towers have been destroyed by these flames. So that's even affecting communication, not only amongst ourselves, but people trying to make phone calls to loved ones. I know that, Danielle and I both, we have loved ones who are in this area. They've been trying to get communication out. There have been delays. There have been issues just getting a phone call made because they can't get to a cell phone tower that can actually give a strong signal.
Yeah, you're totally right, Peter. And just to give you kind of a better idea of where Christie is, Cornell Road, that's between Canaan Road and Malibu Canyon. It's close to the Malibu Lake area. That's a residential area. Cornell Road is an area where there's a restaurant called The Old Place. There's a winery called Cornell Winery. There are many homes, many ranches. It's kind of a canyon ranch type of community. There are lots of homes that sit on the lake there. It's a beautiful community, and it is really right in the line of danger right now.
And you think of the sheer number of people who have evacuated, probably edging toward 100,000 people in this area of Thousand Oaks and the communities surrounding it all the way to the ocean. These are people who they left their homes possibly yesterday afternoon all the way to this morning. We talked to some people who were waken up by firefighters knocking on their door. One man said his neighbor woke up to his bedroom being on fire. So a lot of people didn't realize just how strong the winds were, and these embers, they sneak in and they go to areas that weren't even under evacuation that can travel for miles. As we're seeing those firefighters, thankfully they're patrolling the area and just keeping an eye out.
And as we look live from above from Sky 2, you can see just how quiet the 101 freeway is. Normally jam-packed at this hour, but as you can see, spot fires like the one we're looking at, that's what's doing this. That's what's slowing everything down. This is at Liberty Canyon Road. And firefighters, this is the biggest headache for them, because once they think, once it's out, it could pop right back up again because
There you have it from CBS 2, a mandatory evacuation of Malibu, California, from Liberty Canyon to west to Decker Canyon, south of the Pacific Coast Highway, and people there describing the conditions as apocalyptic, ember and ash raining down on the streets below. Please keep those people in California in your thoughts and prayers. We go to Rob with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Rob.
My brother by always another mother. How you doing today, my
son? Just trying to respond from that sentence, Brother Bob. Good morning.
Oh, bless your heart. Hey, I'm a huge World War I fan and aficionado, and if I had family on both sides, I'd like to, I'd take a moment. Definitely, I'll be putting adult beverage to some ice cubes on Sunday at 11 a.m. for sure. I'm a lifelong fan of Baron Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, and Eddie Rickenbacker. They all started on either side the air war and air power, certainly on our side. It was the beginning of aviation and flight and wartime. And if you've never saw the actual movie, which is really, really cool about the Red Baron, I'll definitely be sitting around with a 20-year-old little girlfriend of mine and popping it in the DVD player. It's called The Red Baron. It's from 2010 if you've never saw it.
How old are you again, my brother Bob?
Right there with you, so I can rub my knuckles on my chest and brother Bob himself was like, oh, that guy, well, I guess I'll bring you down. If you're going to be at the next week with the Gobble, 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 I guess I'll bring you down and maybe one of my autographed Rush Limbaugh books and have you maybe put your 2 cents into that if you wouldn't mind as well.
That would be an honor, but I'm just fixated, and I'm sure a lot of people are, that you have you've always talked about your 23-year-old girlfriend, and you're my age, and I'm 50, so.
Well, yeah, I'm right there with you. So I'm a very alpha male Leo, as poor old liberal Steve has found out once in a while, and I'll definitely have a challenge for him to bust out the wallet next week. But he owes me anyways with the beloved Pocahontas princess of Idaho here. She lost, and like I say, on both sides of my family were Cherokee Indians and then German Jews who fought with the Germans in their Colonel Klink helmets against us, in the trenches of World War I. So it's always near and dear to my heart. I've always loved World War I. I've always been a historical fan of it and all the stuff. And then with the, around the Red Baron and Captain Brown that maybe shot him down, or a no-name soldier just in the trenches that took him out. I mean, it's very questionable. But yeah, I certainly appreciate it, and I definitely want to salute all of our vets.
Now, Bob, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do have to ask you this question.
No problem.
And you and I have an elevated frame of reference because, at least we remember World War I. It was taught in our history books, but, and I say this with respect, when you're talking to and you're having a beverage with your 23-year-old girlfriend, does she get the significance of World War I, sir?
Sadly, none of them do. A lot of people, I brought it up to Sue Paul, and it was awesome. I missed you there, of course. We wish you would have been there at the Warhawk Museum this last weekend, and Sue Paul brought it up, and we talked about it. So then, of course, they have the Falker DR-1 triplane, their replica. They're the same as Manford flew in different venues. But anyways, no, sadly, and that's the problem with, everybody like Memorial Day, and I do, and myself even. I it's time to go jet skiing and get the girls in bikinis and the liquor out, I guess, and go have a great time and working on my suntan. Well, sadly, Veterans Day has become the same thing. It's just kind of people argue and gripe about the bank's closed today. Oh, what's this holiday? So, it's 100 years ago, for God's sake, that World War I, ended, and they just don't have a clue. It's not taught in schools. It's just passed over.
But I mean,
when
she cares for you. Shouldn't she learn about World War I? I mean, have you had some history classes with her? Maybe you could teach her.
Somewhat, yeah. It's just that sadly their generation, everybody under say 30 we're kind of losing them. I mean, and terribly losing them. Anybody under like 18, it's just not taught in schools, the respect for our country and the flag, and it's just they it's all psychobabble. They hate the military. Look, it's just, Trump is a hater and a troll, and anybody like me, it's an arch conservative. Well, you're a Nazi. I'm like, how can that be? My grandparents and most of my family were German Jews, and Cherokee Indians on their side. So I guess I have to dig up the middle finger for you. I mean, where are we going with this, you clown? And Antifa and that. They're stupid people you're up against.
Bob, I appreciate you. I'll be thinking of you on Sunday and look forward to seeing you next week.
Hey, God bless you, my son. Like I say, if you get a chance, go on eBay. It was a Czechoslovakian movie. I could watch the thing 100 times. It's called The Red Baron. It was from like 2010, and we never even got it in the United States, but you can get the DVD out there. But you pop it in and enjoy yourself. You'd be I was blown away the first time I ever saw that movie. I'm like, wow, other than maybe Howard Hughes' old movie, the Hell's Angels, that's an incredible movie. But I'll be definitely thinking about you, and I will come down and shake your hand, and hopefully get an autograph from you, and we'll hang out down there, and I'm going to challenge Liberal Steve, so he better get his pocketbook out.
I always liked those biplanes. I'm fixated on them, but, Bob, I'm getting an email from Jeff the Suit, so I've got to move on. Thank you, sir.
Hey, brother, appreciate it, and thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Thank you. And let me just say this, that I love being a part of your community and having so many friends like Bob, like others, like Liberty Linda, like Tea Party Bob, that it's an eclectic mix. And we have the big tent, the big funnel, and you never know what you're going to learn in the morning. That's the beauty of it. We go from the Red Baron to what Bob's doing on Memorial Day and the summer, and that's good stuff. You don't hear that anywhere else. And, yeah. Okay, we're live at Boise State here. Heidi Reeder joining us, Director of LEAD. Heidi, how are you?
I'm good.
Well, it's nice of you to join us here. I know you are fixated on our conversation with Bob. You never know who you're going to talk to, so that's a tough act to follow.
I know. I really feel like I need to work in the Red Baron somehow to my responses here this morning.
Well, the Red Baron is fascinating when you think of World War I and the history, and obviously Veterans Day coming up on Sunday. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on here, the College of Innovation and Design. We've heard from so many folks. I want to thank your staff for really setting us up here so early in the morning, good to go, directing us, and gosh knows I need a lot of direction. So I want to thank everybody here. For people just tuning in, they might not have heard about the College of Innovation and Design and its programs and how they can go to school and learn more affordably. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. The College of Innovation and Design is the newest college at Boise State University, and it was developed out of a need for coming up with new programming that really targets how to help students be job ready when they hit that graduation date and start looking for, creating the next step in their life. What are the things that they need to know beyond the regularly scheduled programs at the university, so to speak? And so we've been really innovative in developing online programs, in-person programs that are really developing students personally and professionally and giving them just real hard skills that'll help them, take off at a higher level when they're ready to launch, so to speak.
How do we get past both traditional and non-traditional students? How do we get past that hesitation where, in anything that we want to do, we get excited about it, then we have that self-doubt, and then we don't take that first step? What would you say to people that are, always on the bubble?
Yeah. So one of the great things about where Boise State is at right now is we're really leaning into helping non-traditional students, that is, people that maybe have a couple of years of college, maybe they already have their associate's degree, and for whatever reason, their life took them in a direction that they couldn't finish college, but now they're starting to think about it. And one of the great entry points to the university here is to look into the multidisciplinary studies degree. They're really, really focused on helping students lean back into college so
now
that
you're
they
going to
can
have
finish.
to translate that for me. The
multidisciplinary studies.
I had the GIMS a minute ago. And
yeah.
Games and media and
what it really boils down to, and I'm actually not in that program, so I'm not the expert on this one.
Neither was I. But,
okay. Well, we're gonna figure this out together. But it helps students take the credits that they already have and be able to finish school in their own way, make their own focus. And so in the leadership program that I direct, I get a lot of students who are, maybe they've already had a career, or maybe they've been stay-at-home moms or dads, and they are now ready to come back to school, but they want to get education at the university that feels really applicable to their lives. And so for a lot of them, leadership field is really attractive because everybody wants to, move up from whatever position they're in now to one where they have greater influence and they can make a bigger difference in their communities. And that's what we hope to help them do.
What would you say to someone, though, that's listening right now on KIDO Talk Radio, getting past that self-doubt? Just a sidebar for a moment when we talk about that doubt and how big of it is, and I've been through it, and Heidi, you seem like a nice person. I won't say that you've been through it. That initial doubt.
Never, no.
And I know Bob hasn't been through it, but I have, where you want to do something and you have this self-doubt. There's a gentleman by the name of Steve Young, very famous former quarterback, law school grad, BYU, actually a descendant of the Brigham Young. And right before he was going to sign at the time in 1982 a $40 million contract, the largest contract ever in the now defunct USFL, and I know you're going multidisciplinary studies. See, that's how I felt with you.
Fair enough.
He had said, "I don't even want to be a football player. I just want to go. I want to go back to a safety net." And I'm thinking, if this guy who's in the NFL Hall of Fame had those doubts and was so successful, we all have those doubts. And just getting through that for people that College of Innovation and Design, Passport, working with you, with CapEd, can get them on the road. What would you say to them to maybe diminish that doubt?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've got to have each day is an opportunity to get closer to your dreams. And even taking a small step, like calling someone at the university, getting on the web, looking us up, just get the ball rolling in that direction. And then once you get in contact with someone here at Boise State, we're ready to support you. We're ready to help you. And so even with self-doubt, we're going to believe in you. You see what I mean? And so if you've got people on your side the folks here, we really believe in our students. We really want them to succeed.
Right.
And you're not going to be alone.
You're not alone.
No, you're not alone.
All right. Heidi, we appreciate it.
Yeah, come join us.
If people want more information, what can they do?
If they want more information about the leadership program, which of course I highly recommend.
Your people are actually watching you to make sure that you're talking.
Am I saying the right thing here?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
2 thumbs up.
The website that I highly recommend is lead.boisestate.edu. So LEAD.
I appreciate you spelling lead for me.
In case you needed a reminder.
Right.
.boisestate.edu. That'll take you directly to the leadership page. But you can also go to the webpage for the College of Innovation and Design and all of our programming. I mean, I'm a fan, as you can tell.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
From Bob to Heidi to Tea Party Bob, publisher of the Gem State Patriot, gemstatepatriot.com. You're on with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. Nice show this morning. I just wanted to say a few words about the Boise Rescue Mission and how we need the help of everyone in the Treasure Valley to make sure that no one is hungry on Thanksgiving. I'm sure many of your audience have never experienced real hunger, but unfortunately, there are many who have, including myself when I was a child. It's not a pleasant feeling, and that is one of the reasons that I want to do my part to help support Miller's mission next week, to see that those less fortunate have a plentiful Thanksgiving. So thank you very much for all you do in supporting the rescue mission, Kevin, and I look forward to seeing you in that turkey outfit next week at the Walmart at Gary and Franklin. And as we celebrate Veterans Day, I'd like to give a big hoo-yah, which is the Navy's answer to the Marines' hoorah, to all of my fellow veterans out there in the Treasure Valley. God bless you, Mr. Miller, for everything you do.
Thank you for your service, Tea Party Bob. God bless.
Take care, my friend.
All right. More coming up next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget, listen today at 3 during the Sean Hannity Show to win Kevin Miller's cash on KIDO Talk Radio. Listen for me to give you the code word, then go to our website, KIDOTalkRadio.com, for your chance to win up to $5,000. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. KIDO Talk Radio.
Rick Everett.
Do we have time for Pro-Life? Is Pro-Life still there?
Yeah,
Pro-Life?
I'm still here.
All right, bring us home.
Okay, well, as soon as I hang up, I'm going to call our 2 senators and our 2 congressmen, ask them to, before January, put through legislation that will cause the amnesty to go to the consulate or the embassy in the country. You can't come to our port of entry and ask for amnesty. I think that would be the best way that we can do this, because this is too expensive and too crazy to have caravans coming to the United States. So it's a very simple thing. I'm going to call my people, and hopefully they will do something about it. They won't be chickens and say, well, we have to wait until January and see what the new people do. So what do you think about that, Kevin?
Well, God bless you, Pro-Life. Have a great day. God bless you. Want to thank everybody. Ray Amaya back at the mothership, Chandler, George, the staff here, our friends at CapEd. God bless. Keep the faith. And don't forget Glenn Beck's next. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.